November 5th meeting of the Paducah Planning and Zoning Commission to order and ask that you all stand with us as we say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Mr. Summer, you call the roll, please.
Mr. Benberry?
Here.
Mr. Bradford?
Here.
Mr. Morrison?
Here.
Ms. Shramke?
Here.
Mr. Shadle?
Here.
Mr. Wade?
Here.
Chair Casillas?
Here. Wonderful to have everyone here tonight. Mr. Wade, you have the minutes motion?
I move that the reading of the minutes of the October 1, 2018 meeting be waived and the minutes of said meeting as prepared by the secretary be approved as written.
Second.
Second by Bradford. Is there any discussion? Any corrections to the minutes? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Wade?
Aye.
Mr. Benberry?
Aye.
Mr. Bradford?
Aye.
Mr. Morrison?
Aye.
Ms. Shramke?
Aye.
Mr. Shadle?
Aye.
Chair Casillas?
Aye. Mr. Morrison, you have our first item of business tonight,
Yes,
please.
ma'am. I move that this commission adopt a resolution forwarding a positive recommendation to the city commission to vacate an unnamed right-of-way between Buckner Lane and Exall Lane opposite Pines Road.
Second.
Second by Benberry.
This is a right-of-way that has not ever been used. It was platted, but just not continued, and Mr. Martin's here to answer any questions you all have.
The applicant for this vacation is Mr. Sean White, who's a home builder. Actually built one of the homes there, and unfortunately got a little close to the right-of-way of an unimproved street, which is this unnamed street. And so what we're proposing, the three owners of lots that adjoin that would like to vacate that street, and if that's recommended and approved, then they'll go through the planning, through the city commission, have it vacate, come back to planning, and then readjust the property lines to include driveways and so forth, so we avoid all the conflicts and the sidelines and so forth.
So they will have to make changes to their driveways, probably?
Only to the property line. We will adjust the property lines around what their driveways are so that we don't have any conflicts. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think Kentucky statutes say that goes to the center of the street, and what we're going to do is, in lieu of that, we're going to, at the same time, just rearrange those property lines so that they are adjusted properly. So.
And I assume that all of the property owners have signed on to this and they're all in agreement.
They are. They've signed the application. Each one of them, I guess they're represented here, and these folks are here tonight as well.
Glad to have you with us tonight. Thank you for being here.
Got some young planning commission members there with us.
There you are. There you are. Learn them early. There you are. Okay. Does anyone have any questions or comments you'd like to ask?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Call the roll, please.
Mr. Morrison?
Aye.
Ms. Shramke?
Aye.
Mr. Shadle?
Aye.
Mr. Wade?
Aye.
Mr. Benberry?
Aye.
Mr. Bradford?
Aye.
Chair Casillas?
Aye. Ms. Shramke, you have our next item of business, please.
I do. I move that this commission receive and file the application of WKO Holdings, LLC, for the proposed re-subdivision of property located at 4787, 4805, 4811, and 4813 Alban Barkley Drive. I further move that the requested waiver of the public hearing and the dedication of streets be given, and approval of the submitted plat be granted.
Second.
Second by Shadle.
This is to abolish the lines between three different lots. This will make a medical campus for the orthopedic group and also for the pain management center. And Mr. Gardner's here to answer any further questions you may have.
I think most of you are aware where this is, across from the college. What you see on here is all these little dash lines are interior property lines that have been there for a while, and what we're going to do is make this one big campus. You'll see the proposed addition that adjoins Alvin Barkley Drive, the existing Orthopedic Institute there that faces out on Alvin Barkley Drive. That will be added on to. We also are abolishing the easement and the entrance to where the main building is. You'll see it there as well. That's the one that comes off the Alvin Barkley extension there.
So there'll just be one entrance at the traffic light.
Be two entrances. There's one at the traffic light, but there's also one that's existing down by the building you see to the left. That one was built by the state for that building, for that piece of property.
Where the pain management center is?
Yes.
Their existing driveway and the stoplight.
That will remain.
Well, that's dangerously, that's terrible. Isn't it?
We had mentioned that to Jason, but that is a state call, being a state highway. And we did have some.
Just my note, it's
Yes.
terrible.
We said the same
I've come
thing.
close, I don't know how many times, being hit by people coming out of there or trying to get in there. It would have
Right.
been nice if all of it just focused through the traffic light. Would have made sense if all of it focused through that traffic light. It's a lot of traffic there.
But the thing about it is, as many people that go in and out of there, we've got two entrances or three entrances in there now, and we're eliminating the one. So we for a flow of traffic, we really need the other one. And the state's granted it, and it would take several $1,000s to take it out. So, I mean, we really need it in there. There's a lot of people that park over there. We're adding to it, so there'll be even more people parking over there and using that entrance rather than the one you see across from the college. That one will mainly serve the larger building back in the back. It will not serve the part over there, the one that faces out on Alvin Barkley Drive.
Can you explain to us exactly where the entrance is with the stoplight in regards to the three properties that border on Alvin Barkley Drive?
The main one you see there is directly across from Campus Drive. That's one that have a right turn.
I know, but we don't see Campus Drive on this.
It should be all the way over on your left-hand side.
No, it's not,
It's cut off.
I guess. I mean, all we see is Alvin Barkley Drive, period.
Okay, the three lanes there are directly across from the entrance into the college.
We don't see three lanes either.
Alvin Barkley Extension, is that what you're talking about?
Oh, you're talking
No.
about Alvin Barkley Extension? I'm talking about the stoplight
In front of the college.
in front of the college.
Which is not on here, which would have been nice.
No, on mine it is. I thought it was, I don't know what you got.
Now look,
They,
Not on ours.
Mike, this is the, what they have.
maybe on another piece of information that we don't have.
was the
original one turned in. I mean, we turned in some additional ones, I thought.
Well, not waivers, site plans, things like that, but this is the only waivers we've had.
If you want me to bring it up, I can show you what we.
Sure, that'd be great. That way we can all get a chance to get an idea where it is.
I've got three of them.
And we can share.
I'm really excited.
We'll promise not to damage them. No, I know they're pretty important to you, so we'll be careful not to. Here we go.
Thank you. Got it. Okay, that's much better.
Yes, it
Yep,
is.
we don't have this.
So we don't have any of this. It's in that section. Okay.
All right. Well, I haven't traffic. Ease that.
All that is yours. Do away with.
Entrance for this too.
Well,
Orthopedic, but on weekends, that's a hard one.
So that one shows where the main entrance is into it across from the college.
Yes.
Also shows where the two
Existing
buildings
entrance.
are.
And the existing entrance is, you were talking
Right.
about already being done. But you're going to close this entrance?
They're requesting, yeah, they didn't want to use that one because that one's got a lot of traffic on it as well, and they wanted to eliminate that one.
It's hard to cross there.
Right now, we're not approving the site plan, are we? We're just abolishing the
We're just
property lines.
looking, we're just looking at this, just to
Well, but
see,
it's all
get an
part-
idea.
The, I guess this would be to the south, southwest, the existing entrance to remain. Will public know about that, or is that just for future?
That existing
Future-
entrance was built by the highway for that piece of property.
Well, it's
so
currently being used,
So
isn't
it
it, for
is-
the orthopedic?
It's the only entrance being used by that
Right.
building.
Oh, for this
Right.
one? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And that's the one we're actually adding to. So, I mean, we need that entrance. The state's granted it, and they're happy with it. I mean, they say it's fine.
The one
So,
to the farthest, at the corner of the property?
yes.
Oh, okay.
Actually, it's a major entrance because it's got a big creek ditch that goes through it, got head walls on it.
Okay.
It was built with a lot of money by the state, not by the property owner.
Questions, comments?
But for this one, like he said, I mean, we've got all those little dashed lines you see in between there. We're just abolishing it and making it one big, large tract. So it's going to be one campus now instead of having all these little tracts in it.
Thinking about it. It's terrible getting in and out of here. It's people trying to make a left.
We did. Do this, oops.
Comments, questions? Anything? Call the roll, please.
Ms. Shramky?
Aye.
Mr. Shadle? Aye. Mr. Benberry?
Aye.
Mr. Bradford?
Aye.
Mr. Morrison?
Aye.
Mr. Wade?
Aye.
Chair Casillas?
Aye. Mr. Bradford, you have the next item of business, please.
I do. I move that this commission receive and file the application of Felix Gentle and Rodney Carpenter for the proposed re-subdivision of property located at 3107, 3111, and 3121 Trimble Street. I further move that the requested waiver of the public hearing and the dedication of streets be given and approval of the submitted plat be granted.
Second.
Second by Morrison. I'm sorry, I was not looking.
That was me.
This plat is to abolish 3 interior property lines for a new single-family manufactured home, and Mr. Tosh is here to answer any other questions you may have.
This is an older subdivision, and as Josh said, we are abolishing interior lot lines, making this into one tract. They planned on building a residence on this property. We're also dedicating approximately 6.78 feet of right-of-way. There was a conflict in the original subdivision layout for the right-of-way and compared to the city records there along Trimble Street.
Will this be a permanently located manufactured home? Will it have like a?
That's my understanding.
That's all. There's 2,200 square feet.
It's probably double. questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Bradford?
Aye.
Mr. Morrison?
Aye.
Ms. Shramky?
Aye.
Mr. Shadle?
Aye.
Mr. Wade?
Aye.
Mr. Benberry? Chair Casillas?
Aye. Mr. Shadle, you have the next item of business.
Yes, I do. I move this commission receive and file the application of CC Crossroads LLC, AM/FM LLC, Alberta and Marshall Davis and Burbanks Investments LLC for the proposed re-subdivision of property located at 116, 126, 130, 136, 140, 146, and 150 Lone Oak Road, and 3101, 3107, 3113, 3119, 3123, 2125, 3125, 3133, 3139, and 3145 Kentucky Avenue, and 3100 and 3128 Broadway. I further move that the requested waiver of public hearing and the dedication of streets be given, and approval of the submitted plat be granted.
Second.
Second by Benberry? Yes, I'm sorry.
This plat is to clean up the closed alley that was closed by the city commission to develop the property commercially. We have received a final site plan on that. There'll be 2 buildings. It'll have banks, restaurants, that sort of thing. And Mr. Gardner's here to answer any further questions you may have.
This has been basically a year-long process to get to this point. This is on Lone Oak Road as it intersects Broadway across from the old Coke plant and across from Caddy Corner to Independence Bank's property. At one time, there were several houses in here, a lot of little bitty lots as you listen to him list every one of the addresses. The first thing was in February, we abolished a lot of the lots in there. If you've been by there and looked at it, there's been a lot of excavation that has removed some of the houses and buildings that were on the property. The Davises have purchased all of this property now, with the exception of Burbanks Investment LLC, which is at the intersection of Lone Oak Road and Broadway. They own all of it. They have purchased everything, and that's what we're doing now. In April, they closed the alley, and all the alley went to each individual lot owner. That's been taken care of. The deeds have been prepared by the city and given to the landowner. They have purchased those, recorded them, and then, as Josh said, that's what we're doing now, is cleaning up everything where it adds up with all these little pieces of the alley and all the little properties that were in there. The track 4 that you see is where the new shopping center is proposed. Track 1 is just the existing building where Burbanks is. Track 2 is where the Star is, restaurant, across from the old Coke plant. Track 3 has a stone house on it. But this is basically just to clean everything up, a year-long process of closing the alley and abolishing all the interior lot lines. And a new little shopping center will be put in there.
Have they closed on the house at the corner of Maple Avenue and Kentucky Avenue?
Still there.
I know, it's still there. I just didn't know if they'd closed on it, if they're leaving it, they're...
She hadn't said. She hadn't told us yet.
I see, okay.
Right now, it's still there, and it's not in the way of what she's going to do, but I would probably guess at some point it will be taken down for parking.
Well, it's in the way of access to the property. That's one thing. And
now, none of the shopping center will actually face out on Lone Oak Road or Kentucky Avenue. It's going to be interior. We'll have an entrance off Kentucky Avenue that will go straight through to Lone Oak Road, but everything will face interior to the property.
Well, and I had a question too, and this has nothing to do with the actual layout of the property or eliminating the lot lines or the alley. It has to do with this proposed site plan. The entrance that is closest to Banks, it appears that all of the parking goes away from Lone Oak Road so that you would have to come in the back and park. Is that intentional?
Couldn't answer that because I don't know. I didn't,
Okay, I'm sorry.
it's not my
You may-
design, so I don't
Sorry.
know.
Okay.
I'd be glad to answer
Sure,
that.
jump right in.
Yes, on the right-hand side, it's meant to come around the back and park at like 45-degree angles where they have to back out.
Facing out, yes.
And that entry, or that exit, is just meant to be a right out only, or they won't be crossing Lone Oak Road. It'll be a right turn only right there.
Will it be built to be a right turn only? Do you know what I mean? Will it have barriers to keep people from turning left? Because otherwise, it won't be just a right turn only,
Right.
unfortunately.
We've made notes on the site plan for it to be a right out only, and that'll be Mike and Jason on how to determine how to best do that.
Right.
I don't know if y'all-
I mean, there'll be signage there, I'm sure. And as far as whether there'll be barriers, I couldn't tell you that. I don't know. But that's
Even curb, would
yeah,
be
but I mean, that's a busy
helpful.
highway. The
Sure.
state has to approve it, city has to approve it. So, I mean, that's not going to be a problem.
Okay.
It will be engineered where it can be approved by all parties. And if it's dangerous, it is too dangerous to be crossing left there. That's way too dangerous.
Oh, yes, I agree totally. The turnaround, that's for the bank, am I correct? Would that be like, drive-up windows, that kind of thing?
They have plenty of road frontage, so I mean, the traffic can flow on to Kentucky Avenue and get
Sure.
out other ways,
Sure.
other safer ways.
Are you privy to the calculations
Parking.
of parking
That's what I was
to what it actually is? Because my
No.
understanding is this is
No, I'm not.
above what is being required. Josh, are you aware of
I'm
that?
told it is, but I'm not. I don't have the exact calculations in my head.
Yeah, I can answer that, Mr. Wade. That they are above based on you going with every different kind of use. If they would have used the calculation for just a shopping center, it would have been a little bit less. However, the property owner has chosen to maximize the site with parking on her own accord, but we have made her aware that it is a little bit over what it needs to be.
So the 3 future tenants are sit-down restaurants.
I do not know.
I mean, I'm just saying, if they were, would the parking be adequate?
Yes, because right now they're over on what a shopping center calculation would be. You know what they are, Mike? You have any idea?
No, I just know we have more allowed. I mean, more planned in there than what's required. Now, there'll also be stormwater detention that will have to be dealt with too over on the Kentucky Avenue side.
I was going to ask if that's what that was, if that's stormwater detention.
That's where the flow goes, so that's where we'll have to detain the water.
Anybody have any issues on closing or abolishing the property lines?
I don't. Does anyone else have any?
No.
Of course, you don't hand us this and then say, oh, no, let's don't talk about this.
I understand.
You know how that is.
And the reason I put that in there is I wanted everybody to have the complete.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Everybody
sure.
have an idea of what was going to happen. Sure. Are there any other comments or questions about the property?
Just, Josh, has this site plan been approved already? Just curious.
It's made it through planning. I don't think it's been through engineering yet. I think it's still under review at the engineering office right now.
I guess another question someone is going to ask is, how many trees will there be?
That is actually on there.
Mm-hmm.
Can I borrow that real quick?
I don't have it in front of me, but it is
I
on there.
don't either. They did meet that, but I will have to lay eyes on it
Trees,
to
how
tell
many
you.
trees there would be?
It's been discussed a lot with the planning department.
23,
23 additional trees, yeah.
yes.
160 parking spaces with 23 additional trees.
The planning department likes trees,
We like
So-
trees too.
so we try to accommodate.
Are there any other questions or comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Shadle?
Aye.
Mr. Wade?
Aye.
Mr. Benberry?
Aye.
Mr. Bradford?
Aye.
Mr. Morrison?
Aye.
Ms. Shramky?
Aye.
Chair Crecilius?
Aye. Mr. Benberry, you have our last item of business.
Yes, ma'am. I move that this commission receive and file the application of Falconite Hip Enterprises LLC for the proposed re-subdivision of property located at 5307 and 5315 Sheldrake Drive. Further move that the requested waiver of the public hearing and dedication of the streets be given and approval of the submitted plat be granted.
Second?
Second by Wade.
This is to abolish one interior property line. The lot number 1 on the right is odd shaped due to the stormwater detention in the back, and Mike can speak to that one as well.
If you've ever been out there, this is Olivet Village subdivision off of Olivet Church Road. These are small lots, a lot of houses in here. This one, they want to build a little bit bigger house, so, I mean, they just got to abolish the property line so we can make it a little bit bigger. It's just impossible to fit it in there, what they want. We've been fitting them in for a while, using them with the building lines and the small lots and trying to put on a some of their houses are should be built on usually larger lots, but in this case, we've got to abolish this so we can get it on there. We just can't get it on one lot, so we're just making 2 lots into 1 lot, making it a respectable lot to be built.
It's smaller than a quarter of an acre then, isn't it?
Yeah, still small.
Well, they were intended to be more like not patio homes, but much smaller homes.
Correct.
So,
If you've ever driven through there, I mean, they're very close together. But the people like it. They don't have to take care of a yard, and they don't have to. They can go play golf and stuff on Saturdays, and don't have to spend all day taking care of their yard.
but these people, I'm just kidding, just kidding. Are there any other comments? Call the roll, please.
Mr. Benberry?
Aye.
Mr. Bradford?
Aye.
Mr. Morrison?
Aye.
Ms. Shramky?
Aye.
Mr. Shadle?
Aye.
Mr. Wade?
Aye.
Chair Crecilius?
Aye. If there is no other business to come before the commission tonight, we are adjourned at 5:58 p.m.